Hi everybody! Today I'll be picking up where my previous review left off, as I'll be talking about the other Harry Potter game on PS1. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets on PS1 is a tie-in game to the second Harry Potter movie. It takes more inspiration from the books, just like the first game. Although the opening cutscene shows Dobby visiting Harry after the Dursleys locked Harry in his room, even though Dobby was the reason they locked Harry there in the first place. This honestly makes the Dursleys meaner than they were in the books or the movies. So after Ron rescues Harry from his false imprisonment, he takes him to the Burrow, which acts as a level to recap players on what they learned in the first game. You even get to learn some new things, such as a catching minigame you play with the ghoul in Ron's attic that will come into play later. You also get to learn wizard duels, which will also come into play throughout the games, and is honestly something I wish was its own game. How cool would that be? After Harry finishes hanging out at Ron's house, he then learns how to travel by Floo powder, which leads to Harry going down a Mario 64 slide. The game then covers in a cutscene Harry's time at Knockturn Alley and then in Diagon Alley, before Harry and Ron miss the train to go to school. They then try to catch up to the Hogwarts Express in the flying car, but it results in a level where Harry and Ron get chased in a tunnel by the Hogwarts Express. The goal in the level is to make sure to stay a good distance from the train to avoid getting hit by it. And as they say on the island of Sodor, it'll cause confusion and delay if you have the train crash into you. The troubles don't end for Harry and Ron once they make it to Hogwarts though, as they end up having a boss fight with the Whomping Willow before being reprimanded by Snape, and then having to find Hermione to give them the password to the Gryffindor common room. This night is really proving to be Murphy's Law for Harry and Ron. Things start to look up after making it inside the common room, as you get to learn about founder duels that you can do if you have enough wizard cards for each duel. This is some fun side content for the game, if you're able to find some cards to do each duel. Getting back to the main story, Harry gets to learn Incendio Duo from Herbology, practice flying on a broomstick with the flying controls being as clunky as ever, and have a practice duel with Ron. After all that, Malfoy calls Hermione a mudblood, and Ron attempts to hex Malfoy for that, but accidentally hits himself instead. This leads to one of the most bizarre parts of the game where Harry has to follow Ron to Hagrid's hut while Ron is vomiting slugs. And also some of the ground is slippery. Maybe it rained earlier, and that's why the road to Hagrid's is slippery. Once you get to Hagrid's, the catching minigame you play at Ron's house comes back into play from here, as you have to catch the slugs Ron vomits into Fang's dog bowl, and then dump the slugs into a barrel whenever the bowl gets full. At least this is just a game and not something any of us have to do in real life. Once you get back to the castle, you take a Defense Against the Dark Arts class with Professor Lockhart before doing a part in the book that wasn't in the movie as you go to Nearly Headless Nick's Death Day party, which has an encounter with Peeves, which will make you wish Peeves made it into the movie. After the party, Filch's cat, Mrs. Norris, is petrified, and the trio decide to make a polyjuice potion in order to see if Malfoy knows anything. Harry then has a potions lesson, some gnome tossing fun, and a Quidditch match, which is thankfully the only other time you have to fly a broom in this game. After those events, Harry does his part of the polyjuice potion plan by going with PS1 Hagrid to Diagon Alley to buy some potion ingredients. Now, if you watched my previous review, you know what I thought about Diagon Alley. But thankfully, the Chamber of Secrets version of this segment has been toned down, as you only have 2 minigames to do this time. One where you have to shoot Cornish pixies, which I had more fun with than I thought, and the guessing game from Philosopher's Stone, which sports a Christmas theme this time. This makes me wonder if I should have waited until Christmas to play the game. But I guess I always have other options for a Christmas review. Back at Hogwarts, Harry gives the Polyjuice potion ingredients to Hermione before having a duel with Malfoy, who then unleashes a giant snake for Harry to fight. Moments like these make me happy that Malfoy is going to be tricked into giving information with Harry and Ron disguised as Crabbe and Goyle, and Harry and Ron drink the Polyjuice potion to do just that in the next level. After they turn into Crabbe and Goyle, they follow a Slytherin to the Slytherin common room to see if Malfoy is there, which results in them going through a slippery platforming corridor to get there. No wonder Slytherins are always cranky. If I had to go through an obstacle course every time I wanted to go to bed, I'd be cranky too. When Harry and Ron talk to Malfoy disguised as his cronies, they find out he doesn't know who the heir of Slytherin is, and before the Polyjuice potion effects wear off, Harry has a boss fight with Moaning Myrtle, who gives Harry Tom Riddle's diary after he wins. Interestingly, the LEGO game would use the idea for a Moaning Myrtle boss fight that this game came up with. Before Harry reads the diary, though, he has a lesson with Lockhart before Lockhart has some Cupids chase after Harry so there can be a level in the game where Harry gets chased. Now I feel bad for not making a Valentine's Day video this year. When Harry finally opens Tom Riddle's diary, he sees Riddle getting Hagrid in trouble for opening the Chamber of Secrets. Harry then sneaks out at night to question Hagrid about this, which leads to a stealth level where the Hogwarts staff are keeping a lookout for Harry. Now there are parts in the level where you get the invisibility cloak to sneak past the teachers, but it's still extremely hard to avoid getting caught as the cloak isn't everywhere, and it can wear off pretty fast when you have it. I probably wouldn't have made it far in this section if there weren't checkpoints throughout this part. When you finally get to Hagrid's, he tells Harry and Ron to follow the spiders before the Minister of Magic takes Hagrid to Azkaban. This leads to Harry talking to Aragog, who tells Harry that Hagrid was framed for the chamber's opening 50 years earlier, and then Harry fights and wins against Aragog before Ron picks up Harry and drives him back to Hogwarts in the flying car. And now we made it to the final part of the game, where Harry and Ron go to the Chamber of Secrets and force Lockhart to go with them after Harry catches him in his office trying to flee the school. You know how much of a coward Lockhart is when he sets defenses to keep students out while he's packing up to flee. When Harry, Ron, and Lockhart enter the chamber, they go down a slide, which was honestly the hardest part of the game for me due to how often I fell off the edge. Maybe the secret in the Chamber of Secrets isn't the basilisk after all. Maybe the real secret is how hard the slide is to beat. After pulling your hair out enough times, you beat the level, but Lockhart decides to betray Harry and Ron and attempt to wipe their memories. But after he's beaten in one final wizard duel, his own memory gets wiped instead. Harry then makes it to the main room of the chamber when he meets Tom Riddle, who reveals himself to be Lord Voldemort, and that he's draining the life out of Ginny Weasley in order to return. He then sends the basilisk after Harry, who tries to kill him by shooting lasers out of its teeth. The way you defeat the basilisk is to shoot spells at it a few times before reflecting its lasers back at it. The game then ends with Harry murdering the basilisk and then Tom Riddle, Ginny being saved, and Gryffindor winning the House Cup for a second year in a row. Honestly, I thought this game was an overall improvement over the first Harry Potter PS1 game. While it's not as iconic, you can tell that Argonaut had an easier time developing Chamber of Secrets, and it serves as a great farewell for the Harry Potter game's reign on the PS1. But with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and that you'll look forward to the next wave of videos I have planned.